Let's hear about the wild and legal 80s and 90s that Laguna Greenbelt was facing.
Laguna Beach is a very unusual town. It has more than 200 nonprofits, but the environmental organizations are truly amazing. The granddaddy of them all is Laguna Greenbelt, Inc. Jim Dilley, bookstore owner in Laguna, formed that group. After that, we had Village Laguna. Village Laguna came about because of a high-rise going up on the ocean. After that, Laguna Canyon Conservancy was formed. Laguna Canyon Conservancy was formed because of an impending development in Laguna Canyon and some other very special issues. Thanks to Laguna Canyon Conservancy, we had that walk in 1989 that made a huge difference with the Irvine Company and what they were going to do with the land within Laguna Canyon.
I was in a yoga class with Betty Heckel.
Oh.
And she was recruiting people for the Greenbelt board because she liked me. I was just a puppy.
I first met Jim Dilley at an Earth Day. They had a table at UC Irvine, where I was getting my degree. And here was this long table with this very agitated man in the middle, very active, and 2 or 3 people on either side. They were handing out brochures and stuff.
Eventually the Greenbelt wound up suing Laguna Laurel, which is, the Irvine Company, 3,300 homes, golf course, everything else was supposed to go in the canyon. That's what, again, once Prop A failed in '84, the major developers, because of Rancho Santa Margarita, Aliso Viejo, and the Irvine Company for East Orange, etc., they needed those roads. So they needed an alternate way to do it, so they came up with the idea of the toll roads and got the legislature to pass legislation allowing the toll roads to be formed, the joint powers authorities for the toll roads. What happened once that we opposed it, we wrote letters on the EIR, testified, and then when it was approved, 4 groups came together to file a lawsuit. And the groups were Laguna Greenbelt, Laguna Canyon Conservancy, something called Save Our San Juan, and Spawn in Newport Beach. Stop polluting our Newport, which is now, they changed what the Spawn stands for now, they still exist. And we had worked with Spawn on Friends of the Irvine Coast.
Right.
And that whole, which is now Newport Coast, of course. And so we had worked with them before on that. So the 4 groups came together, filed a lawsuit. Initially, each group threw in money, but very quickly it became apparent that only one group was going to fund it, and that was the Greenbelt. So at the time, what eventually happened was Save Our San Juan pretty much dropped off, as did Spawn. So it was basically the Greenbelt and LCC. Interestingly enough, towards the end of this, the Irvine Company gets involved. And this is something people don't really know. They pay for Lawrence Halperin. Lawrence Halperin, who designed the FDR Memorial,
Yes.
who also designed the library steps at LA near their city hall, which are gorgeous. They paid to have him come down and come up with alternate designs that would fit in better.
There was a review on the history of Laguna Greenbelt.
Well, the one thing that shouldn't be forgotten on the toll road, yes, it's there. Yes, it got built. However, I've been told by people who are heavily involved in extension of the Foothill Corridor, including, again, NRDC, the lessons learned in that loss helped stop the Foothill Corridor from going through San Onofre.
And we kept that one until we got to the successful negotiations with the Irvine Company. And the Irvine Company was kind of upset. They said, it was Carol Hoffman at the time who was their very able representative.
Yes.
And she said, but you, because they were tracking what was going on, she said, you dropped all these other lawsuits, but you haven't dropped ours. And
Not going to either.
No, they didn't get it. They got it finally after the walk. But at that point, it was pre-walk. We were still, ratcheting up our our opposition.
Nobody knew it.
During that time, the LCC was formed, and they became the street fighters in the struggle. And we therefore looked more reasonable, even though we were not. And we were helping to fund some of the other things that people were doing. You know, there were people marching up and down in Laguna Canyon saying, do you want all this development here? Do you want the canyon? And so we were not doing that, even though we were. And so when the time came after the walk, when the Irvine company said, oh, okay, let's talk, you know, and they went to talk with the city, we were part of the negotiating group because we looked reasonable.
I said, why doesn't somebody put Burma shave signs in the canyon? Now, this was an old group. Most of them were old enough to remember. And for the first set of signs, Cy Jones came up with what the sign should say. But I was waiting for somebody to put them up because I had a good idea, but I certainly didn't think I'd have to do it myself. So finally, no one stepped up. So now this is when Phantom of the Opera was just new and a big deal. So that was that, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, the things that we came up with, fine poetry, all of it. But I would, in the morning after being out there at midnight, putting the signs in the ground. Sometimes it's hard if the soil was really hard, but we'd figure out we had to space it far enough apart so people could actually read them.
John said, why don't you join the board? They invited me to join the board, and I did that. And I guess it must have been 1980, because I remember going door to door and talking about how to save Laguna Canyon and who to vote for.
This is just about the only natural lake left in Orange County. It's one of the most beautiful spots I've seen in this county, a county that's been overwhelmed by growth. The natural grandeur is still here. They've never found the source of water for this lake. It remains a mystery. But there's no mystery at all about what might happen here. The Irvine Company is planning on building 3,000 homes on the hills behind me and strung out along Laguna Canyon Road. The city of Laguna Beach opposes that project, and so too the city of Irvine opposes that project.
As visual artists, what my partner Jerry Burchfiel and I hope to do with this, which is phase 8, by the way, of the Laguna Canyon project. We've done 7 other phases which were designed to increase public awareness of the plight for this land. But with this phase, what we wanted to do was to create a piece of art that would be not within the studio confines or the gallery confines, but would be out in the environment, which is, after all, what we were concerned with. And also we hope to create a vehicle whereby other people could participate, could have some feeling of expression for this land. I don't think that the powers that be who are governing this land, from the legislators down to the developers, are aware of the strength of opinion that people have about not blindly pursuing what we call progress today.
Today, we're here to celebrate what is almost complete and what is by far the biggest phase of that project, the tell. Now, when we started in 1980, our goal was to somehow try and preserve this environment. Now, we're artists, and our medium is photography. And photography lends itself to documentation. And we felt at the very least, what we could do to preserve the environment would be to photograph it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bob Gentry.
was also my pleasure, before working at the county, to work with a Laguna artist activist, Charles Michael Murray. His marketing skills and my skills in public relations, we organized and delivered The Walk in Laguna Canyon, November 11th, 1989. The debate about whether it was 8,000 people or 11,000 still goes on. We don't know. It's been the largest environmental protest march ever held in the county. We had made a proposal for the walk in September of 1989 at the LCC meeting on the third floor of the Wells Fargo Bank. I swear they were debating and complaining about Xeroxing costs and weren't getting anywhere. We felt sorry for them. Within 90 days, everyone was on it. The city followed with full support at every level, the business community, including realtors, city staff, and of course, an active city council led by Lida Lenny. We all know from Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. November 11th is an opportunity for everybody in Orange County to participate in the walk. Actually, it's a walk, run, bike, or bus into the canyon. We're going to start in the morning at the Festival of Arts grounds in Laguna Beach, at least at one end of the canyon. You can actually enter from any point that enters the canyon, so long as you meet at the tell at 11 o'clock. The point of the whole day is to let people know that we are not in agreement with the proposed development, and we would like to save the canyon. That's right, you can contribute to saving the canyon. November 11th, be there.
Hi, this is Jose Feliciano speaking on behalf of Bette Midler, Robert Englund, Mike Farrell, Julie Harris, and John Denver. What I'm about to say concerns us all. I am sadly amazed at the unbelievable rate of growth in Orange County. We must stop and ask ourselves some important questions. Why are we losing our majestic canyons? Are we really increasing the quality of our lives or just adding to the congestion and smog? Walk, run, bike, or bus with other concerned citizens into the heart of Laguna Canyon on Saturday, November 11th, Veterans Day. Meet at the Tell, the center of Laguna Canyon, at 11 a.m. For more information, call area code 714-859-HELP. Bring your friends and family, because together we can make a difference. Remember, once it's gone forever.
Have been trying to get access to the Irvine Company, get access to the owner, Donald Bren, who, by the way, is one of the richest men in the world, to ask him to set aside this land, to either donate it or to help us find a way to buy it so that we can preserve it. So up until now, we've been working within the system and quietly, I would say. But with the release of the environmental impact reports and the fact that we're looking at such a short timeline, we have begun to use other kinds of tactics, including picketing, first at Donald Bren's home outside of Linda Isle, where he lives, just to make sure that he is getting the message, because we have had no response from him.
We have the traffic, the pollution is going to be so severe. The Irvine Company and Michigan Corporation is pushing this development. They hired their own specialists to come up with the environmental impact report. What that says is that this development would add 36,700 daily, that is every day, additional car trips every day on Laguna Canyon Road.
Saturday, November 11th, Veterans Day, 1989. But this Veterans Day is more than a remembrance of those who took a stand for their country. Today, thousands came together to take a stand for the land, to preserve open space for all of us, and to stand to place this day in one cherished canyon in Orange County. The Laguna Canyon is the place, and today is the time. The 11th month, the 11th day, and for this canyon, the 11th hour. Harry Huggins is executive coordinator for the walk.
And yet,
Riding along and reacting to the event is Michael Wilson, an attorney from Hawaii, who fought to save Sandy Beach.
Announcement, a matter of operations here today. If you find yourself lost, in more than a figurative sense, like you're detached from the people you are with, you should go to the blue tent command post. Right.
Thank you. I'd now like to introduce to you the founder of the Laguna Canyon Conservancy and also Mayor Pro Tem Lida Lenny.
Boy, am I glad to see you. We have had hundreds of people working on this night and day for 6 weeks, but we had no idea what kind of a success it would be until you showed up. So would you please give yourselves a tremendous ovation for being here and for making this a success. You are absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Because what we've got here is the beginning of a coalition, an environmental movement that is going to make itself felt in Orange County politics in a way that the supervisors have no idea. You are going to make the difference to what happens to the land here in Orange County. Here is where we draw the line.
He represents the origin of this canyon. His name is Laurel. He's an ordained minister, and I'd like to welcome him to the podium.
It's a sacred place, as all places within the universe are sacred. There is that word in my nation, the Lakota Nation, which says Makakwesen, which means we are all related. And in that relationship, it is for us to share the understanding that harmony and balance is the spiritual essence of our creation, and that we are not separated by color, or politics, or economics, or religion, or social status, for we are all members of the same tribe, the tribe of humanity.
This land was made for you and me.
I feel quite good that we've made the statement we set out to make. The statement's going to be heard, and we've started a ball rolling that I don't think it's going to stop. I don't think it's ever going to stop. I don't think we're ever going to go to sleep again in Orange County like we have for the last few years. We went to sleep. We came under the disguised feeling that progress was inevitable.
This way.